Hi guys, and welcome back. Today I'm working on this 2000 Chevy installing the rear brake pads. The last video was on removing the front pads. So in this video I'm not showing how to remove the wheel or jacking it up or the pads, but the safety features are the same. Jacking it up using a jack stand, bracing the wheels on the opposite side. Little difference is on this back caliper, slide pins have a nut on the end of them, and the bolts screw into these slide pins. Other than that, the procedure is the same as far as pushing in the piston, removing some of the brake fluid if necessary. And what I'm going to do with this, they have these guides. I'm going to do this off camera. You can see the rust in there. I didn't get new guides. I'm going to clean this out and put some of that grease on that was on the front pads. With the front pads, I didn't show the installation. I had trouble with the camera. So this could be considered part two. The front pads were removal, and the rear pads were showing the installation. Now, when I pull these pads off, they weren't as worn as the front, and that's normal. But you can see, there's quite a bit of meat left on here, but I was hearing that little grinding. And normally you get it from here when the pads are worn down. And this has got quite a bit of life left on it. So my assumption is the other side will be a lot more worn than this side. There's quite a bit of meat left on this pad. But I have it apart, I have the pads, so I may as well just install them and we'll take it from there. Again, I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to use a little wire brush to clean this out. I'm going to put some of the grease in there so these pads can slide back and forth easily. And when you put these bolts back into the guide pins, they're 12mm bolts, and the torque should be 30 foot-pounds. Let me get to cleaning those guides off, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I just want to point out, you can see the significant difference in the wear pattern between the front brake and the back brake. This back pad has plenty of meat left to it. The reason I'm changing is because I have the wheel off and I have the pads, and I did hear squeakings. So the other side may be worn out more than this. And again, here's the front pad. See how thin that is? You can see on the line, there's barely nothing left. And on this one, have quite a bit left. As far as pushing in the piston, it's the same process that I used on the front pads. I'm using an old pad and a C-clamp to push it in. This one here, if you have a large pair of channel locks, you could do the same. And what you're doing, you're just pushing that piston in, nice and easy. So this caliper could fit over the new pads. Now, okay, there we go. We have these two 12mm bolts. And these get torqued into 30 foot-pounds. The slide pin has a nut at the end of it that this bolt goes into. When I was removing the bottom bolt, the 12mm wrench slipped on it. Somebody stripped that once before. What I was able to do was put a 17mm wrench on this after soaking it with some rust out and tapping it back and forth with a hammer. When I loosened the nut, I was able to remove that bolt. So if you run into that problem, there's a solution. On the front brakes, they don't have this nut and bolt setup like this. The bolt just goes right in and threads into the caliper on the other side. So now all that remains is to torque that down, put the wheel back on, and go to the other side. If you found this video useful, give a thumbs up, pass it along, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Until next time, stay safe. This is just a quick look of the other side. Driver's side, the brakes had a lot of life left to them, but on the passenger side, the outer pad had quite a bit left, which it normally would, but the inner pad was worn down to where it had to be replaced. That's why I was hearing that squealing. This tab is designed to rub against the disc when it's worn down, to let you know that this pad is wearing out before you get into the metal on the pad. Now this went just a little too long, and I caught this just in time before it did any damage to the rotor. If you find this video useful or entertaining, give it a thumbs up, pass it along, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, stay safe.